So let's dive into this. The shadow of the spirit who denies sounds pretty epic, right? And it is. But this isn't your standard good guy versus bad guy story. Not at all. We're talking about something way bigger here, a battle for what power actually is. Right off the bat, we get this chilling line from Mephistopheles himself. But to match a god of the will, I must draw upon the depth of my own shadow. Wow. I mean, that just sets the whole thing up, doesn't it? This isn't about swords and shields. It's a war of ideas, a fight over the very definition of power.
All right, so let's set the scene. Imagine everything's gone. The world we know, that whole bustling marketplace of civilization, it's just crumbled. All that's left is this gray, empty wasteland. And right in the middle of all that desolation, we meet our first major player. And there he is, standing alone in what the story calls glorious isolation. This is Wotan. And let's be clear, he's not just some guy who made it through the apocalypse. Oh no, he's basically a self-made god in this new world. His power doesn't come from a government or an army or anything like that. It's all him. It comes from the inside.
So you're probably asking, what exactly is an overman? Well, think of it like this. It's someone who has completely overcome all that stuff we'd call human weakness. They've shattered those chains. Wotan is the ultimate example of this. He's a self-created being, a god whose only reason for existing, his only proof, is his own incredible, unstoppable will.
Okay, so what does this guy stand for? Well, his whole worldview is built on the ruins of what he calls the last man, basically humanity at its weakest and most pathetic. Wotan is the exact opposite. He is the will to power, pure and simple. And it's not just about controlling things, it's about creating, about constantly overcoming. He's chasing this terrible freedom, which means a life with no gods, no masters, nothing above him. He is his own justification. All right, we've got our god of the will. Now, let's meet his opponent. Hiding in the shadows of some old, massive corporate tower, a ghost from the world that was, we find Mephistopheles, the great naysayer, the spirit who denies. But here's the thing. This isn't just some guy in a red suit with a pitchfork. He started out looking like a slick corporate cynic, the kind of guy who'd sell you a bad mortgage for your soul. But that's not going to cut it against Wotan. To face a god of pure will, he has to dig deep. He has to become something more, a mix of that modern sneer and some really, really old school evil. So how does he pull this off? He literally reaches back into his own lore, his own origin story, the original Faust book legend. That's where his real power comes from. It's like he's shedding his modern disguise and tapping into the ancient, legendary source code of who he is. He's not just acting like Mephistopheles, he's becoming him in his truest, most powerful form. And this right here, this is his whole argument against Wotan, boiled down to one sentence. Power is a contract, not a creation. Think about that. Wotan believes power is something you forge from within yourself. Mephistopheles, he says, no way. Power is something you buy. It's a deal. It's a transaction.
And he's not just going to argue about it. Talk is cheap. Mephistopheles is about to put his money where his mouth is. He's going to create a living, breathing counterpoint to Wotan, a rival literally pulled from the dark corners of history. So how does he do it? It's like this four-step process of, anti-creation. First, he starts with pure negation, a big no to everything Wotan stands for. Then, he draws on that ancient power we talked about, his own shadow. From there, he literally pulls the historical figure of Faustus out of nothingness. And for the final step, he reforges him into something terrifying, the Faustian Übermensch, a weapon made to break Wotan. Now, what comes out of this? It's not just some mindless monster. It's not a demon with horns. It's way, way more clever and dangerous than that. What he creates is a perfect, dark mirror of Wotan. They call this thing the Faustian Übermensch. And get this, it has all of Wotan's strength, his godlike power, but on the inside, it's completely hollow. It's a being of pure negation. It's like a perfect copy, a parody of a king, designed to be a mirror to sovereignty, but without any of the substance. And Mephistopheles just lays it all out. He says, I offer a being who satisfies every desire through the ultimate contract. But here's the catch. He is a powerful slave to his own hunger and my design. So this thing is incredibly strong, but it's not free. Not even close. It's a slave to its own desires and a slave to its creator.
And that's the key, right? That's the fatal flaw in Mephistopheles' creation. Wotan's power is his own. This thing's power is rented. It's on a lease. It's built on a foundation of all the old ugly stuff, resentment, weakness, hunger, the exact things Wotan claims he's left behind.
So, there you have it. The stage is set. The two titans are ready to face off. And this is so much more than just a fight. It's a test of two opposing realities, the will versus the void, creation versus contract. I mean, just look at the tail of the tape here. It couldn't be clearer. Wotan's power source, the will to power. His rival, an ultimate contract. Wotan's whole deal is creation. The other guy's is negation. Wotan is all about that terrible freedom, while the Faustian Übermensch is nothing more than a powerful slave. It's the meaning of the earth versus a big, empty, power-hungry pursuit.
So, what's the whole point of this? What's Mephistopheles' endgame? It's actually pretty simple. He wants to prove that Wotan's grand philosophy, that this whole will to power thing, is just a fancy way of saying I want stuff. He's trying to reduce Wotan's creation to just a hollow pursuit for more.
And this metaphor just hits the nail on the head. An empowered tempter is like a polished old mirror, reflecting every ghost that's ever stood before it. By creating this Shadow King, Mephistopheles is holding up that mirror to Wotan and saying, "See, you think you're the sun? Your light is just a borrowed flame from a candle that went out a long, long time ago."
Which brings us to the big question, the one this whole story leaves us with. Is ultimate power something you create from your own will, something truly yours? Or is it just a deal you make with the darkness, a contract with the void? That's the question Wotan has to face, and it's the one we're left thinking about too.